Welcome, everyone, to another NFL Corner. I'm Nick Sano. I'm joined by my co-hosts, Stephen Peltier and Anthony Benelli.
Adios.
We have a lot to talk about, like always. We have the Super Bowl to recap and all the emotional feelings and heart attacks that caused, as well as a bunch of off-season stuff later on. But first, we're going to start off with just a bunch of NFL headlines. We have, first off the start, we have a bunch of Seahawks injuries. Richard Sherman will be having Tommy John surgery on his injured left elbow. This was confirmed by Pete Carroll. As well as we have safety Earl Thomas, who will have surgery on his separated shoulder and torn labrum and will be out approximately 6 to 8 months. The Falcons have officially hired Dan Quinn as their new head coach on a 5-year deal, according to Adam Schefter. Browns QB Johnny Manziel voluntarily entered rehab this week. Maybe this will finally get his act together. This comes as the league officially suspended wide receiver Josh Gordon for a year again, and the league is now investigating whether the Browns were texting on the sidelines during games or not. As well, we have a couple of arrests and everything. Hall of Famer defensive tackle Warren Sapp was arrested for assault and soliciting a prostitute in Phoenix on Super Bowl weekend. The Ravens released nose tackle Terrence Cody after he's indicted for animal cruelty. Cowboys running back Joseph Randle was arrested for unlawful drug possession. And Colts linebacker DeQuell Jackson was arrested and is being charged with assault.
This pizza guy.
Yeah. The Seahawks defensive backs coach Chris Richards was promoted to defensive coordinator. The Colts have officially signed wide receiver Duron Carter, the son of Hall of Fame wide receiver Chris Carter, and the official whistleblower and the person who started the entire Deflategate scandal is Colts GM Ryan Grigson. This is according to NFL football operations chief Troy Vincent. Any thoughts on any of that and anything to add, guys?
I won't speculate on any of the arrests or anything. It happens all too often. The Manziel thing, I guess, good for him for entering himself in a rehab. The one thing I will say, we've talked about it before, is why does Dan Quinn get a head coaching job? Why? Just because you're coaching a winning team, you deserve to get promoted to a head coach? I don't like the move, to be honest. I don't like that they fired Mike Smith. I don't think there was anything wrong in Atlanta to fire Mike Smith.
I think their defense was just so weak that they wanted to bring in a new guy.
But that has nothing to do with Mike Smith.
It doesn't have to do anything with him. It's just they felt they wanted to go into a different direction, I guess. Or the fact that Quinn is leading arguably one of the hottest units in the NFL, so they thought that he could bring that to Atlanta, even though he didn't really build it, and that he didn't make the talent. It was just he was there to lead that unit and that squad.
I just don't like the move, and I don't think it has anything to do with him because Atlanta's defense is weak regardless. They're going to try to build their own Marcus Trufant, I guess, because there's no one else on that team that is solid.
One of the things that they were actually saying is that he's going to be trying to look for a long-term extension for Julio Jones right at the start. So that's not even defense.
That's what I'm saying. That's moves on offense.
Yeah.
That's not their issue. Their issue is defense.
And we're also now joined, for everyone watching as we record this, we're now joined by Fitz again as our special guest. We're just going to go right into the Super Bowl recap. It was just an incredible game from start to finish, whether you're a Patriots fan or not. The only people who didn't like it were probably, Seahawks fans and anyone who didn't like the Patriots. I know I went through this super emotional roller coaster in the last 2 minutes of the game and had almost several heart attacks. But Super Bowl 49 was the most watched TV show in U.S. history with 114.4 million viewers. This was completely different from last year's Super Bowl. This game literally came down to the last second. After a scoreless first quarter, both teams scored 14 points in the second quarter to keep the game tied at halftime. The Seahawks then came out and scored 10 points in the third to pull out ahead. And the Patriots had a pretty horrible third quarter, but then came roaring back in the fourth to score 14 to regain the lead. Then with 2 minutes left, Russell Wilson leads the Seahawks downfield after a bomb to Curse downfield, who made a ridiculous catch with like his legs and like I don't even know. He was just like lying on the ground and somehow made that catch. That ended up with the Seahawks moving into Patriots red zone territory. And then a run by Marshawn Lynch gave the Seahawks a first down at the Patriots 1 yard line. And I thought the game was over until undrafted free agent Patriots corner Malcolm Butler intercepted a pass off of Russell Wilson and making it out to the 2 yard line, effectively ending the game and essentially winning the game for the Patriots. This is a call that we'll talk about in a minute, but that I believe Carroll admitted fault for it, but I think this lives in football infamy forever because, again, almost every person and their mother has been saying is that you have one of the better running backs in the NFL. Why would you? Best. Right. Why would you take a chance and pass it, on first or second down? Just try and run it in. This was a game where you had your big players playing really well, but you also had unknown guys come out of the woodwork to make big plays like Malcolm Butler or Seahawks wide receiver Chris Matthews, who had 4 receptions for 109 yards and a touchdown. He is an undrafted free agent who was working at Foot Locker before the season. He didn't have a catch the entire season until the Super Bowl and just completely wrecked Logan Ryan and Kyle Arrington on coverage almost every time they lined up against him. So what are your guys' thoughts on the Super Bowl? I guess we can just kind of facilitate this from there. But, yeah, what were your thoughts on the game?
My thoughts on the game, I'll start with the last play of the game. I think that obviously Seattle should have ran the ball, but I agree with what Pete Carroll was saying in the sequence that he wanted to throw a pass. I think that it was the play call that they actually made of the pass that was actually so bad. Right. I think that if they
slant to the tight end out in the right back corner of the end zone, lob it up.
I was going to say do a fade route into the back of the end zone because that's a safe play. Throw it to the back of the end zone. If you don't have it, throw it out of bounds. And then even if you do that, you still don't have to use your timeout because it's not.
And you can just now start running the ball.
And you can now start running the ball. And then you could do it again. You have twice that you can do it. You could run it and say you don't get it. You call your timeout, and then you do it again on 4th down. And I think that regardless or not, if they would have got in, the Patriots, people are saying that if they handed the ball off to Lynch, they would have gotten in. But there was a stat that I saw that out of the 5 times that Seattle was on the 1 yard line,
he only scored once.
He only got in once. So, it wasn't definite that he was going to get in. But, still, it's the worst call I've ever seen ever, and I was absolutely livid when I saw it. But not taking anything away from Malcolm Butler, that was an amazing play. That was a historic play, and I think what makes it so historic too is that it was Malcolm Butler. I would think that if it was Brown or Revis, it still obviously would have been a historic play because it would have been a pick to win the Super Bowl. But the fact that it was Malcolm Butler, I think, just made it that much better.
Yeah, but what do you think?
For Patriots fans, anyway.
I agree with what Kevin said. I don't know. I think Pete Carroll's defense, that was the right play call. In that situation, you throw the ball to save yourself a timeout. My biggest concern is actually with New England in that situation. Why did Belichick not call a timeout? When they were at the 1 yard line and the clock ticked all the way down to 20 seconds, it was like they gave up. Why do you not call a timeout there? There's no argument. There's absolutely. I will not even listen to someone tell me an argument that because you can't argue that. Right. If you assume that they're going to score on the 1 yard line, which most likely they're probably going to, because let's be honest. I'm sorry, the defensive line didn't look good in that game, not at all, and they were going to score. Yeah. Okay, Marshawn Lynch, they were going to score. Why did you give up? The clock was at a minute, and they let it run down to 20 seconds. And that's when the ball was picked up.
One of the things that I think a couple of people have been saying, now this is not my opinion by any stretch of the imagination, but they were saying that you kind of give up points to then get the ball back and then score again, which doesn't really make too much sense. But They
okay, but if you're doing that,
to,
why would you do it with 20 seconds when you could do it with a minute?
Right. That was the other thing that I found problematic with that was just that all right, fine. Say you let them score a touchdown and then you need to score a touchdown to win the game. You have 20 seconds left to do that, assuming you even take a touchback in the end zone. That gives you
go 80 yards.
Yeah, they give you 80 yards in 20 seconds.
You can tie it with a field goal, but
right, but at that point,
with 2 timeouts.
That would be what they would probably bank for is a field goal with like what as
play
time
to win
expired.
the game. A minute for Brady with a timeout is an eternity.
Right.
You need to call a timeout there. You cannot just give up the game.
But
absolutely. Why wouldn't you call a timeout for more than one reason other than just to give you your chance the ball on offense again? Why wouldn't you call that to set up the proper defense, assuming that they're going to run the ball?
Right, because then like they get down there, the Seahawks take a timeout, and then the Patriots take another 30-second timeout right after that.
I thought it was stupid. I thought it was the dumbest thing that he didn't call.
I think they would have called a timeout if Seattle didn't.
Right.
Because they had the wasted timeout because no one could get down there.
Right.
So
yeah, you call a timeout in that situation 9 out of 10 times without a doubt.
Yeah, but there was some other speculation saying that they knew that they were going to be running that play. I don't even come close to believe that. But that's kind of
you don't even know what play they're going to run in that formation.
Right.
That's a load of crap.
So
and I don't believe for a second when Belichick says they practiced defensively for that play. That's not real either.
I didn't actually think he said that, but
he did say that at the 1 yard line. He said that we practiced that defense against that play.
I don't think it's for that play. I think
he said it was like goal. They go goal line set, and then however many corners. So there was.
First off, how often do you see an offense with 1 yard to get into the end zone throw a slant route over the middle when you have 1 yard to work?
Never.
It doesn't happen.
I was going to say,
doesn't happen.
Brady throws like a slant to Gronk, but that's on the outside.
You don't throw to a receiver cutting across the middle
but the other thing
with
about
1 yard to
though,
work with.
Is that Malcolm Butler ran through the receiver.
Right.
You're not running through Gronk.
Right.
That's why you throw it to a big target like that. I mean, it's stupid to throw it to a receiver.
I think there was stupidity on both ends. I'll be honest. I'm happy New England won. I can't stand Seattle.
Right.
I have no problem when New England wins. I like them. I love Tom Brady. But I think there was a lot of stupidity in the last minute by both the teams.
Right. I think that, when you say that you're going to practice for that, I don't think you practice for that play specifically. You could have said that you practice for a goal line. Right. You practice for that fade into the end zone. Like you practice those scenarios where your defensive backs have to jump up.
You don't run a slant route over the middle.
You know what I was actually thinking when they were in that position was I thought they were going to do one or two things.
You could screen pass it.
Well, I thought they were going.
I wouldn't do that.
I
thought throwing behind the line.
But they do the read option. With Russell Wilson. So then you could turn
that's exactly what I was about to say. I thought that
I wouldn't have been surprised by that. I thought they did the Green Bay.
I would have because it's too predictable.
Right, but at the same time, you have to then cover for either Baldwin or Lynch or whoever they're going to try and screen it to. But then you could also have Wilson just run it in from a yard out.
That's what I was just going to say.
You could have.
It's a yard.
I thought they were going to do a play action. I thought they were going to do play action.
It's 3 feet.
He was going to run around the end.
You could sneak it. Brady would sneak it.
That's what I thought he was going to do.
Sneak it right up Unger. Literally snap, stay low, go right up Unger's back. Touchdown.
I don't even care if
you
could line up Wilfork as long as you get inside 3 feet. You're good. That's
play
all of it.
Terrible play call. Question for you.
Answer for you.
You regret the Logan Ryan statement?
No, I don't regret the Logan Ryan statement.
You have to.
Not fully, because...
Well, Malcolm Butler basically just took the third spot in the cornerback depth chart next year.
Not even close, but we can talk about that in a second.
What do you mean? How could you even say that? He even made a good play on Kears at the end of the game. It just so happened the ball fell on him and then ground.
Okay.
All
right.
So
he was getting scraped by Matthews.
All right. Well,
Logan Ryan shouldn't even be in the NFL after the Super Bowl.
Logan Ryan's terrible.
He is terrible.
Two parts.
He won't even make the Ravens roster this year.
Defend it. I need to hear this.
Yeah.
Two parts to this. So we'll go with yours first. So Benelli and I were arguing during the Super Bowl about Logan Ryan's value and everything. Oh yeah, Tierman was in this too.
Value.
Well, you came in as backup for him, but originally it was Benelli and myself. We were arguing about Logan Ryan.
If you were watching the game.
Yeah,
right.
Ryan was.
So Logan Ryan had a bad Super Bowl.
Here we go.
Everyone can admit that.
Your argument's going to be used up against Matthews, who's fucking oops for swearing. He was a foot taller. He was a foot taller than him, so the guy can out jump him.
No, I already said that in my argument with you guys. I pretty much said that you had, Chris Matthews coming out of nowhere. No one really prepared for him, even though they probably should have. And that there's a height differential and everything.
Can't argue
That's fine.
that. Every corner is undersized to a receiver. There's no such thing as a 6'6" corner. Name a corner that matches up with a receiver that's not playing the slot. Name a receiver that's not over 6 feet 2 playing on the outside. Name a corner that is bigger than a receiver in a matchup. Because I don't know one.
Well,
Jimmy Smith's probably the biggest corner in the NFL that's solid from Baltimore,
right.
And you can't ever use that as an excuse. No one's going to be able to guard. No corner can guard a 6'6" receiver. It just doesn't happen. You lob it up, they're going to kill you every time. The only way you're going to do it is if you get a step in front of them and the ball's lobbed. Ryan gets bullied. I need a reason. I need a good reason, and it can't be he's undersized.
Do you guys agree with me that Malcolm Butler will be, regardless if they bring
I'm not
someone
going to
else
speculate
in?
that far out, but I will say Logan Ryan is awful.
He is.
I have a
terrible.
completely separate argument for you over that one. But getting back to this, is for the Logan Ryan thing. It's not just about what happens in one game. It was over the course of 2 years. And I'm not defending him completely. I'm not saying he's the best fourth corner in the league.
He's fourth corner for a reason.
Of course, you have Revis, Browner, and Dennard in front of him, as well as Arrington. Well, I'm not saying that Dennard's good. I'm saying he's
you look
better
at one
than Ryan.
stat. Your mistake ratio, okay? How many times in a game can you get burned? Fine, you get burned. There's a lot of things that can happen that you could physically get burned that maybe weren't your fault.
Right.
But when you cannot make a tackle,
yeah.
When you cannot hit someone, when you lose yourself in coverage, he looks like a safety that's lost trying to find someone playing corner. You're going back to the last 2 years. He has never had a standout game against a solid receiver. If you cannot shut down a solid receiver in the NFL, you cannot be a corner. Because there's fourth-string corners on a lot of teams that I would take that I know for a fact I have seen shut down people. Greg Toller came out of nowhere in Indianapolis and locked up everybody.
Right. I'm not saying that Logan Ryan is anywhere near.
But what I'm saying is the games he's done
average.
good were against nobodies. Against an average person, he has not had a solid game. He is not deserving to be what you said. You said he was very good. I have the text. You said he was very good.
I said very good for a fourth down.
But he's not, because I can pull up fourth. All right, I'll use the Bengals.
You had
Darqueze Dennard, Drake Kirkpatrick.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, for what his value is to the team, fine. How many times did the Bengals start Kirkpatrick? He started almost every game for them.
Okay.
Logan Ryan started half the amount of games.
Okay, how about this? I'll use Cortez Allen on Pittsburgh. Undrafted.
Yep.
Real undersized. Logan Ryan's got at least 20 pounds on him and at least 3 inches.
Right.
And he's locked people down. And he is a third corner.
I'm not talking it's just about
I'm not
size
trying to
or
attack
just,
you, but I'm saying there is no way that Logan Ryan is even an average cornerback in the NFL. There's too many guys that are better than him.
Right.
I think you're looking at this as a Patriots fan and not as an analyst. I think that the way you're looking at this is you're saying, okay, this guy's on my team, so you know what? I got to defend him. He's not good, dude. He's not. I mean,
the only reason I will still defend him on this, and the reason why I didn't take back anything I said on Sunday, was because statistically he's done better. He did better last year than most of the rookie corners did last year. For being the fourth corner on that team, or the third corner last year, because they didn't have two main corners. For being the third corner straight out of the fourth round.
Fine.
And he did lock down against the Broncos. Wes Welker. And I'm not saying like Welker's good anymore or anything.
All right,
but the game before that, Welker had 10 catches.
If he wasn't getting burned and he was able to lock people down, fine. Yeah. He is one of the worst tackling corners I've ever seen in football.
Yes, I will.
He does not know how to wrap up.
I will definitely agree with you
tackle.
on that. Yes.
If there was a record for most tackles not made, he would own it. Because fine, if he can lock down a few guys, fine. he cannot tackle anybody.
This is where we can finally agree on this. Because
people that play corner think, and fans of the game that watch cornerbacks think it's all about locking someone down.
Yeah.
If you can't tackle, if you can't make hits,
you're
not a corner.
Yeah.
Take Sean Smith for example in
KC.
Kansas City. I mean, he lays people out.
Right.
If he gets burned, fine. But the next play, you're getting laid out by him. There's a disconnect with Logan Ryan. If he gets burned, he can't tackle anybody.
Right.
So the second he loses coverage on someone, he's useless.
Right.
He can't tackle, and he's very spotty in coverage. I don't think he deserves to be on the team, and I don't think he's good. There's too many.
I was just going to say that. I don't really think he fits well in the Patriots' way because the Patriots they're competitive every single year. They're good every single year. They're in the playoffs every single year, and he came up short in the biggest game of the year for them.
Oh, I'm not saying he.
Let's be honest.
If
the Patriots did lose that game, you could look over and say at Logan Ryan and be like,
getting picked on.
Getting picked on, and that was one of the reasons why.
How many corners are on that depth chart? How many corners on the pass
that
depth
were active for the?
That were no. The beginning of the year that made the roster, not practice corners.
Must be at least 7.
I think it was 8.
Yeah.
That's a lot of corners.
Yeah, I mean, you did lose a couple guys for the year, but
right. But he's not deserving over another guy. Is all that I'm saying, and I think that he is very.
I agree that if like Dennard wasn't hurt for the year, he would have been in Logan Ryan's place for the entire game.
Okay.
I don't think he would have played a snap at that point. All I'm saying is for the sake that it was not. There's always going to be some area of a player that is better than others. And for Logan Ryan, he can... It's not like he's completely horrible at covering a wide receiver. There's obviously a reason he's in the NFL. I'm not saying he's not going to be a 1, he's not going to be a 2, and not a 3.
There's people out there that get in the NFL. Brian Scalabrine played 11 seasons in the NBA. Come on. There's loopholes, there's ways to be in the NFL. Okay?
Right, I'm just
Teams
saying
will take a chance on a player.
Yeah. No, it's just that I think that there are some redeeming qualities to Logan Ryan that he has shown glimpses of. I'm not saying he's shown consistency every game for 2 years.
Future and what the potential that he could become.
Which is, I mean,
that's the only thing.
All right, here's what I'm going to say. A cornerback is in a position that you have to fall into a role.
That's the only thing I can think of.
I think you're wrong because
that's fine.
A cornerback isn't a quarterback. You don't have to fit into a role. A cornerback is a position that translates right from college to the NFL.
Right.
It's not like a quarterback where you come out and you're saying, he's got to gel, we'll give him some time to sit back there, maybe he'll fake. No, a cornerback, you translate immediately. If you are a cornerback in the NFL, you do your job. You do the same thing you did in college, and if you're good enough, that warrants you a position to play on the team. There's no, we're going to wait and see if there's time. There are certain positions in the NFL you don't wait and see. Offensive lineman, that's instant. You don't wait and see. You're an offensive lineman. You take 4 steps a game. That's something that you come in with. Same with a corner. No corner progresses over the years. Patrick Peterson, when he came out, filthy. Yeah. First year, filthy. He has been since. Joe Hayden, same thing. Revis, same thing. There's no such thing as a corner growing. You don't grow as a corner. That's a position that you come in at.
Could, but I mean, you could tell.
You agree with me?
That's no, I get what you're saying. I mean, you obviously get better. Like Revis was better.
That's what I'm.
That's
what I'm saying.
No, but I'm saying
getting bigger and stronger only does so much.
Right.
But they make impact. It's an impact, an instant impact. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
He doesn't have the knowledge.
Right.
He doesn't have the knowledge. That's the key to being a corner.
There's just sometimes where he looks confused on the field, and I like.
Have you ever sat and actually watched a cornerback? I know the TV doesn't show it, but if
Russell Wilson was sniping where like certain people were defensively.
Right, but if you
look at it, he didn't throw towards Baldwin until Revis got picked by the ref.
If you're a good cornerback, I want you to watch a good cornerback. It has nothing to do with speed. I want you to watch a good corner. I'm trying to think of someone. All right, Vontae Davis.
Yeah.
If you watch Vontae Davis play, he's not the fastest guy.
Right.
He literally, the receiver is getting ready. Before the receiver's turning on the route, he's stepping the route.
Right.
That's something I've never seen Logan Ryan do.
Right.
I've seen him get turned. When you do they call it the 360, when you're a corner and When you do the 360, you don't
Yeah.
know where it's going. You're not ready.
Right.
And that's what I
Because
was
don't
saying.
think
That's
you
that's
you
my-
never see Revis do a 360. Like,
No.
he's 3 steps ahead of the receiver before
That's
the
what
receiver
makes a
even,
good corner.
Right, and I will
Actually,
agree with
Revis
you on
did
that.
do a 360 against the Bengals.
Oh,
Yeah, I
he
did
did.
see that.
He
I
did.
did see that.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
Chad Johnson.
Well, Chad
at the time,
Johnson.
at the
Yeah,
time,
I
but-
do remember that.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
nasty pick, but yeah.
But yeah, but I mean, I do agree for the most part that Logan Ryan's not the best by any stretch of the imagination at a 4 corner, but there's always going to be a redeeming quality of someone. Now,
True.
what was your argument?
I was gonna just say that I think
I'm not
Now,
getting involved in
going
this. I think
back-
it's too soon.
no, but I'm just saying though that I
So
think
you thought that Malcolm Butler is going to be the 3 corner for the Patriots next
yes,
year?
I do because
So
I look at the-
assuming that the Patriots do re-sign Revis as
well,
their
that's
one,
that's the other thing. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, like I'm just saying that if like
I'm really hoping that they sign him and McCourty. That should be like their first 2 things, but
You
continue.
still
Right,
staying
no.
with the McCourty over Thomas? You didn't even believe that. I saw you walking home going to the bus. You were like, damn, I didn't even believe I said that. I saw you regretting that. You didn't mean that.
no, what I'm saying
No,
is
it's-
going back to
I won't even let you redeem yourself. You and I both know you didn't mean that statement.
going back to what Benelli said about the IQ and how Logan Ryan's IQ just isn't that high. That play that Butler made, that was an extremely smart football play to make, and it was extremely ballsy at the same time.
That's
He
exactly
jumped
what I'm
that
talking
route.
about. You jump a route. You're
He
a step
jumped
ahead of the
the route.
receiver.
Okay.
And the most amazing part about that whole thing was that he actually caught it, because DBs, obviously, they're DBs.
Their hands, yeah.
They don't have hands.
Right,
They're-
But that's like a
they're wi-
quarterback. When you're a quarterback on offense, you're watching what the defender is
And
doing.
if you
knowing when to
watch
throw
that
the ball.
film, that receiver, he's open. Wilson
Yeah.
made the right pass there,
Right.
which is why no one's really getting on Wilson for throwing that
Right.
pass.
Yeah, you
It
haven't
was
heard
just-
much speculation.
Right.
You just heard speculation on the play call, not on the throw.
Right, not so
He
much
just
on
jumped
the
the
throw,
route.
and now
Right.
it's another
And
thing
that's
I
what
wanted-
makes a good corner.
Right, exactly. That's what makes a good corner, and that's what I wanted to say, is that I feel
See,
like
I see tendencies out of him. I will say, he did make some mistakes, though.
he did.
Right, and
Right.
that's where my thing comes in with Butler is that if you watch over the entirety of the season, you saw and you saw plays that you recognize the fact that this guy was an undrafted free agent, that he came off the practice squad. Not that that's a bad thing or a stigma. It's just that that's the type of play he kind of showed in the game sometimes, where you would see him, kind of looking confused, maybe like going one way when a guy clearly was going another way for a route. Like there's times where the gap between him and the receiver is like 5 to 10 yards,
Right.
and I'm saying he's coming into the position and he's definitely improved over the course of the season by far. Like preseason to now is just like a 180. But I don't think he's 3 next year, because Arrington has still proved to be better this year and last year than in
Right.
years before.
It's just that I just like the way that
I'm not
I
sold
just-
on Arrington either. It's just I
That's-
think
I
that he's better than
personally-
Butler. Still,
I
so.
personally like the fact how Butler adjusted though throughout the game, which is what the other corners didn't do. Was the
Right.
fact that Butler, even like if Butler knocks that ball down in the beginning, like what he did, it was just that like Kurt just
can't-
happened.
Right.
Kurtz
It
just
wasn't
would've
his
bombed for
fault.
that,
It's
yeah.
Like,
not his fault.
it's not his
You
fault.
can't blame him for
You know,
a guy on his back.
He just
Oh,
caught it.
got
He did
it.
what he was supposed to
Right.
do it, and he adjusted in the biggest stage. Like there was no bigger stage than that in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl, and that's
as a
when
last
he,
minute substitution.
and that's when
too.
he stepped up. And those are the intangibles, and those are the things that can't be coached. Like, those are the things that Belichick likes. So that's why I think that he might go in next year as their third corner. Because when they go in and they're looking at the depth chart and it's really close and they're doing the same thing and they're like, all right, Butler or Arrington. Well,
or Butler, Dennard, or
But
whoever.
Butler, Dennard,
Yeah.
whoever, and it's really too close to tell, and they're going to be like, well, what guy's going to step up when we need him? Because they know that the ball is going to go their way, assuming Revis and Brown are on the same team, because they're not going to want to pick on Revis or Browner.
Right.
So that makes Butler that guy that they're going to pick on, and they're going to be like, can this guy step up? And yes, obviously he can
Corners
step up.
interchange so much in the NFL.
They do.
If you look at a depth chart, you can take any team except for maybe the top tier teams or the top tier corners, and I want you to look at the top 4 corners on a team like the Redskins. I guarantee you that there's maybe 1 or 2 guys from this year that would be playing
I
next
use
year.
the Jets for an
They
example.
always are interchangeable. Yeah, the Jets are a team
Well,
too.
yeah, well, I'm
So,
just saying the Jets
what
this year, they're
has-
not good.
What has, going back to Logan Ryan, I'll use him fine. What has Logan Ryan done in his time playing that
Mhm.
makes him stand out above a guy that made a miraculous play in the biggest game of the season
Right.
that he's not deserving for a chance at that spot. What has Logan Ryan done that sets him apart? Nothing.
I definitely think that Butler, Dennard, Arrington, like if any of those guys want to go after the 3 spot, go for it. Like that position could be yours. Just earn it. And I'm not saying that.
I think
and
they've
I'm
all
not saying
been
that-
fighting for that 3 spot
Right.
though, all year, and I'm saying that now, like the whole season's gone by, and you saw what happened, and it, like going back to like what Benelli said, like Logan Ryan was getting torched by a guy who
Mhm.
didn't have a catch all year.
Right.
So it's just like
And it's not even about size at that point.
Right.
If you're just getting burned and turned
It's
around.
play coverage as
And
well.
how about the 6-yard pass that he caught when he literally threw Ryan to the ground?
Yeah.
and then
Literally threw him to the
he
ground.
wasn't even in their 3rd down packages, Matthews, for a lot of plays because he didn't know because he was so
He doesn't even know the
unfamiliar with the
offense.
offense. So he was, and like that, it didn't look good at all for Ryan or Arrington. So I mean,
Arrington had a better game
well, he did. He had a
when he
better
wasn't
game.
covering Matthews,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I mean, the other thing too is, I mean, maybe we're also not giving Matthews enough credit. I mean, maybe we've
That was
seen,
the other thing I was going to bring up
Right.
next was just how good is this kid that came out of nowhere?
Right.
Like
It's interesting.
You said that he wasn't in any of the 3rd down packages because he didn't know the offense that well, but still 4 receptions, 109 yards,
Oh,
and
yeah.
a touchdown.
I mean, they were just telling him run downfield.
The NFL isn't what it used to be with receivers. It used to be what guy runs a 4.2 that we can just hopefully. Now it's you're 6'6", you got size, you got hands, lob it up all day.
It's like
Martavius
it's
Bryant from Steelers,
Or it's like
Pittsburgh.
the Plaxico,
Oh my God!
Plaxico Burress effect. You used to be able to throw the ball up the Plax at any time, and you knew
Back
that
of the end zone.
you knew that he was
He's
if
coming
he
down
wasn't
with it.
catching it.
Calvin Johnson.
Calvin Johnson.
Right.
AJ Green, Mike
Right,
Evans,
right.
Martavius Bryant, all the big guys.
Right, like Kelvin Benjamin.
The
like your
receiving,
bigger
the receivers
receivers
nowadays are turning into tight ends because they're big targets,
Right.
and those are the guys that benefit. And then now all the quick, fast guys, they're always just getting shoved in the slot. That's
And-
fine.
and then you
That's
have-
a
and
good
then-
mismatch.
And then you have the
defensively
big,
for
and then you have the big receiving tight ends like Gronk or Jimmy Graham when he has a good season.
Gresham.
Greg Olson, Dwayne Allen.
Gresham.
Yeah. So I mean, it's the positions are changing slightly, and the descriptions are too. So I mean, what else do you have to add to this,
I
tier, man?
was just gonna go back to the play call on the 1. I mean, I get what Pete Carroll's doing, but if you, I understand if you're gonna throw it, just get it out of danger. Hit the guy in the stands or something. If you're gonna, Kevin and I, we talked. You go with what brought you there, which was Marshawn Lynch. If you give the ball to Marshawn Lynch and New England stuffs them, then you lose. That's a completely different way to lose. And
So
did
Seattle lose the game, or did New England win the game?
That's a question.
I don't think that's
I
so
don't-
hard. I mean, because
I
you
don't-
could. All right,
I
the
really
reason
don't
I'm
know.
saying that it's so.
I mean, you could say that New England won because they shut out Seattle in the 4th quarter.
right, you could say that.
Right.
See, that's what I'm saying is that there's so many arguments on both sides that you could just.
I think
Sure.
this is a pretty even thing to argue.
I texted you guys saying
Yeah.
when it was 24-14,
Game over.
game over.
Yeah.
Game
And that was
over.
that was like the
There was
middle of the
that,
third
though.
quarter
About
too.
But look at what New England's
Yeah.
offense was doing at the time. They
They were
were
not.
they were not doing
three and
anything.
outs or
Right.
driving down the field and not
Right.
getting.
Is
getting
Brady
it
the
done.
best quarterback of all time? I saw a poll on ESPN, and he was unanimously voted that he is the best quarterback of all time,
I think that's everyone reacting to the Super Bowl game though.
without a doubt.
And
Without a
and,
doubt.
I think.
and-
And
I
guess
think,
what?
I'll still say Brady's not
Whenever
the
he
greatest of all
leaves,
time
he's gonna be.
right now. Yeah.
Whenever he leaves, he will be.
I
He
mean,
is 100% better than Manning, so I don't want to hear that argument
Oh
anymore.
no.
As
And
much-
so the real argument, I
as
guess, now is Montana
Yeah, no.
versus Brady.
well, all right, no, this is just what I was about to say.
Yeah.
As much as
Yeah.
this kills me to say this, but you have to look at who Montana had on his team. Montana had Jerry Rice
As-
and Tom
Brady
Brady
makes
has
no-name guys better.
and
Yeah.
Right.
Tom
Talk
Brady
about it all the
has
time.
Edelman. I mean, Edelman's a very good wide receiver, but Jerry Rice is the best of all time.
Right.
Like, so it's just kind of like
Yeah.
you just can't really.
Yeah, but Brady had Moss.
For
How long?
for
years.
2
I'm
years,
just saying. I'm just saying.
for a couple years.
And they didn't
How
win the
can you
Super
make the
Bowl
argument?
that. And they didn't win the Super Bowl that year.
Right. So
All
I
I'm
mean,
saying is you can't make the argument.
No,
Brady's been in the
I
league for
know.
how long? Has he been in the league?
I know.
14 years. You can't make an
Yeah.
argument about 1 year
No, I
having
know.
Moss.
so I mean,
And
like,
how old was Moss? Moss was out of
He
his
was-
prime.
Yeah.
right, like,
yeah,
look,
but he had a
like,
You can't
like
make that argument.
No,
though.
but
that
he made a
crazy
great-
catch over the Revis.
No,
Oh,
no,
yeah,
but
that
he had
was-
a great year though. Him and they had the most
Yeah.
touchdown wide receiver, whatever
27.
combo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was.
But like, if you look
It
at
was
all,
insane.
like, if you look at the entire list of the wide receivers or just the receivers that have caught a touchdown pass from Brady in the playoffs alone, is ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you
It's
have
looking
like
at the
Mike,
lineup from a restaurant, like
Right,
no
like
name
you-
guys.
like you have Mike Vrabel and Richard Seymour on there, linebacker and defensive end. Like that is just that's something that you never heard of at the time. Like Richard Seymour was doing what J.J. Watt did this regular season before J.J. Watt was even in college. Like that's just how they've been doing it for years, and I don't know the list of all the receivers that Montana threw to, but I'm going to guarantee Brady's is at least triple the size
Yeah,
because you have guys that played there for 1 year. Like David Givens has like the the fourth most touchdown catches for a wide receiver from Brady, and that because he was on the team from like 2001 to 2004.
right.
Look at what Peyton
And
had
it's
in
int-
Indianapolis. He
Marvin
had
Harrison,
No,
Reggie
I was just
Wayne,
about to say that too. I was gonna
Brandon
say
Stokes.
no
If you
quarterback
put-
that's in the top 5 made no-name receivers better.
Right.
Yeah.
right. And I'm saying
The
imagine
only
if
argument
Brady,
somewhat is Aaron Rodgers because he's had rookie receivers that he's turned. He
James
made Randall
Jones.
Cobb. He made Randall Cobb really good.
James
he made
Jones.
James Jones average. James Jones is in Oakland.
We're
doing
seeing
nothing.
what he can do in Oakland, though.
Devontae Adams, one of the best rookie years for a receiver. He's making rookie receivers that aren't highly touted, drafted in the beginning of the draft. He makes them look good.
Yeah.
But Brady is literally making no-name guys
Right.
that came out of nowhere good. And I don't think any other quarterback has ever done that. If you actually sit and think, a quarterback that you're going to put in the top 5 of all time in this era, no one's done it.
Right.
Manning's always had
you know who
someone.
could do it? I mean, could Andrew Luck because he makes those receivers
Yeah.
are so bad on Indianapolis, except for T.Y. Hilton. I'm not saying up to Brady's level, not at
Agreed.
Brady's level.
But
Okay.
who
Because
on New England is even remotely close to T.Y. Hill?
Oh yeah, nobody. But I'm saying though Brady does have Gronk this year.
I'm not kidding you. I'll take Dante Moncrief over everyone on New England except for Edelman.
Right, I agree with that.
Okay.
But I'm saying at the same time, like Luck's throwing to Fleener.
I'll take Fleet. I know you don't like Fleener, but I think
He
you're
drops
crazy.
the ball way
No,
too
he doesn't.
much. He has
He was third in the NFL in receptions
He could have
for
been
a tight
first.
end.
He could have been first if he.
Well,
if he
guess
didn't
what?
drop as many balls.
I'll defend him and I'll defend Dwayne Allen. I think they're both really.
Well, I think
good.
Dwayne Allen's better than Fleener.
I don't. Totally different. You want Dwayne Allen? Then you don't like speed at tight end because Dwayne Allen's slow. He's a left tackle playing tight end.
I think the only reason why Fleener is so good is because he has that chemistry with Luck from Stanford. But this is off topic though. But I was just saying that Luck makes his receivers a lot better.
So-
I don't know if I'm
alright,
ready to
so-
put Luck in the top 5.
Oh
in
no,
this
no,
era.
no! I'm not saying that though. I'm just saying. I'm
alright.
just saying in general that you could see Luck being
Right.
a quarterback like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Luck's going to be
Because
top 5 of all time.
He
That guy
is. That's
I
what
love
I'm
him.
saying. Is I'm
He's very
saying
good.
in the near future,
But
you
right
could
now-
see Andrew Luck being
No.
a guy who makes his receivers better unless
But-
they go out and get
But
somebody
until
or something like that,
but until like 20 years from now, when Luck's retiring or
Right,
something like
right.
that, in like 1 or 2 years when Brady does retire, when he does walk away, is he the greatest of all time when he walks
Yeah.
away?
I said that.
I mean, the playoffs talk, and you have what 6 or 7 one and dones from supposedly the greatest quarterback of this era. I don't believe
think
it.
about this.
I want to bring something up though. Okay, what makes Brady actually his legacy actually amazing is the fact that he did it in the post salary cap era.
Yeah,
Meaning that back when Montana and the Lombardis and the Bart Stars and the what was it, the 70s and the Cowboys, 70s Pittsburgh Steelers, when they had the fact that he has been able to be so good in an era where like you can't keep the same team, which is
Right.
why the
It's just
NFL
too
is so
hard,
competitive.
yeah.
But
Right.
back then it was more like baseball where you could just go out and basically
Have
buy
whoever.
guys
right.
and you could bring these guys in and like that's what I think makes it so amazing.
Well,
is the
what
fact
quarterback,
that-
and I don't even say that's winning, what quarterback in the last 5 years has made a playoff run with no receivers?
No.
None, except for
him.
Brady.
None.
And Luck this year.
Actually,
Right.
think about that.
Like you have every
He
year
was
since
strong,
I think Randy Moss
Yeah.
since Randy Moss got released by the Patriots, a lot of people, including myself, have been saying, where's this star number one receiver that could elevate this Patriots
Really,
offense?
they didn't need it.
And they didn't need it obviously this year, and they haven't needed it because of Brady. But at some point they will need it.
That's what I was
But
gonna say. I was gonna say,
even
when-
still
It's also
you
a
don't-
different type of football. man.
right you don't
He's
Brady and the Patriots have proven you don't need a number one star receiver to
He's
win.
doing it that you don't need a running game either.
And that was my other point.
They kinda
Combined,
said that.
They've
They said-
never had that.
No, they
really.
set the,
Right.
they kind of set the blueprint for that if you think about
I'm
it.
just
Because
saying-
when they started
I'm just
winning, and then
Back
they started
then, it was
doing
ground and
when
pound.
Kevin Falk was on the team and then you had Corey. I mean, Corey Dillon was at the end of his career when he was with the Pats.
when they got him
But
from Cincinnati,
funny to think about this, but it's true. And you might disagree too. I know you will. Break this down. No run game.
yep.
No run game. The guys that they brought in when they brought in Corey Dillon washed up. We'd used them up. We had our fun with them. And then you guys took them, washed up. You had one game this year where Jonas Gray was amazing, and then you have the games where Blunt will have 3 touchdowns but will run for 50 yards. You do not have a solid running game, so at best the running game is average. The receivers are
okay,
average.
okay.
I don't think it's
serious-
average.
I completely
The running
agree
game,
with you.
I don't think it's average. It's probably below.
Okay, great.
No,
I thought
I-
you were going to say above. I was
No,
gonna
no.
walk
No,
out the
I
door.
completely agree
No,
with
but
you.
I'm not done.
Okay.
Average receiving core,
Okay.
average offensive line,
Yep.
very average defense. Very average defense.
Okay.
And they win Super Bowls. What team can go average, phenomenal quarterback, average, and win
And
Super Bowls?
phenomenal coach.
I was
And
gonna
phenomenal
say
coach who wins
the
Super Bowls.
stats
Because I'll
will
tell
say
you
the
what,
next factor.
because Ben Roethlisberger, he's good. He has better receivers than Brady. His offensive line is awful.
But look
They
at their-
were awful until they got
D.
Bell in the running, and their defense is terrible. It's not what it was in the
It was,
early
yeah.
2000s.
I was gonna say when they
and
were
they can't win
when they
games.
were
They
winning,
lose in the playoffs every year, and they didn't make the playoffs last year.
when
So Brady
when
is the only
Steelers were winning,
quarterback
they had
that
a
can do that.
phenomenal
That
defense,
has to
though.
make him the best.
Yeah.
With average people and no name guys, and he wins Super Bowls, he's got to be the best.
Right, I'll say I 98% agree with you on this. I do think that defensively they were a lot better
You
than they
love
were.
their defense.
No, I don't love their defense. I like their defense a lot better than say
What it
2011.
was.
I
like, it was
really don't think that
atrocious.
defense is good. I really don't.
Really?
It
There's
doesn't
too
have to
many
be-
holes.
It doesn't have to be. I mean, you don't have to say that it's top 10 or anything because I don't even say that. I say that their defense, comparatively speaking,
And how
is
often can a
way better
non-top 10
than-
defense win a Super Bowl in the NFL?
in this era,
Yes.
not often.
Do you think the Pats defense is good?
No, I don't.
Okay. I really don't.
I don't think it's
Because
good.
I can say this.
I mean, I think it has a. I
It
think
has good players, but
Right.
overall, it's
You don't
it's
think the
pretty
defense-
average.
They're good.
Don't compare them to
I'm not-
2011 and
No,
those
no,
years
no.
that they were bad. Right now, is their defense good?
I think they're solid.
Okay.
I
So
think-
my point is
I
proven
think
because
they also do a bend but don't break. That's how they've always been. They'll let you drive.
I think Revis is huge on your defense.
Yeah.
so.
I think that was a
Absolutely.
game changer for the
Absolutely.
secondary.
Because I think it's huge just for the fact that no
without
one.
Revis, you lose a lot more games and you're not here.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Because guess what? When you played the Bengals,
AJ
AJ Green
burns you on
burns
on
everyone
almost
because
every
what happened?
play.
Because what happened when Revis
When
went out
Revis
for,
went out,
for
he
one
burned
series
that
touchdown,
touchdown.
even
Yeah.
yards.
Quarterbacks
Right.
don't throw at Revis, so when you're the Pats defense, you kind of already know in the
No,
passing
what-
game what the other team's
He's-
going to do.
Right.
And if you want to go throw at Revis,
Good
by
luck.
all means,
Good luck.
go throw at Revis.
Fly to Revis
because,
Island,
yeah,
yeah.
like,
But I
It's
don't
not
think
gonna
that
work
their
out for
defense
you.
is good. I really don't.
I mean, I still think that there are bright spots on the defense without it being good.
I want to ask you
How many
guys.
times?
yes.
How many times in the last
Yes.
3 years prior to this year did you see when Will Fork would get through the line that he found a way to get the quarterback? In the postseason, he did not do that. He would break through and get away. Granted, anyone's getting away from Russell Wilson, especially if Will Fork's chasing him. He's definitely going to get away.
Right.
But against Baltimore, he couldn't even get. The defensive line does not get the push that they used to from.
I
Will
want to
Fork
ask you
at all.
guys, because you guys are Pats fans, what do you think the Patriots should do with Jared Mayo.
I say you let him walk.
I do too.
I think that they
think you-
could definitely let
you
him
have
walk.
to.
He's hurt all the time.
He's too much money right now, and he's a great player, but you haven't seen that in the past 2 years because he's gone down with season-ending
All right,
injuries both years.
I'll end it with this question: when Brady leaves, if you have the same defense, are you even going to make the playoffs?
Probably not.
But another thing to add to you, though, in the earlier years when they did win the Super Bowl, they had great defense.
Great defense. That's what I'm saying.
Like,
You know, it was it's kind of funny how it evolved because Brady was very good, but he wasn't the sole reason why they won Super Bowls.
It was kind of like if you had a really great defense on the Colts, like he was like the Andrew Luck. He was good, and you knew he had potential,
right?
but he wasn't at that
level
level
yet.
Right.
I mean, he did have the game-winning drives to get them down there, and he did all the intangibles. But to get there, it was that defense that was really the facilitator of that team.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that defensive line, you look at that middle.
Oh,
that was ridiculous.
You had Ted Washington. Right, people talk about how big Vince Wilfork is.
Ted Washington is
bigger than Vince Wilfork, and
you
couldn't even
like
run the
triple
ball.
teams. Yeah,
yeah. You if you like literally like just for him being there, you didn't have to move like
Ted Washington takes up 2 gaps by himself.
Yes,
like
he
that
does.
is ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
I think Brady is the reason that they win everything.
Oh
Brady
yeah,
and Belichick.
yeah.
Because
I agree too.
I love the Pats. I do. I love them. I will root for them 9 out of 10 times as long as they're not playing the Bengals. I love them. I like when they win. You know, I think they're a great team, but I'm not sold on their defense. I don't think their defense is good, and I think their secondary is trash. If you take Revis away, that secondary is trash.
Because Browner's a very good second corner.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's a very good second corner. Like he's not
like he's the physical defensive back that you want on the line bumping guys.
Right,
so
that's
that they
what
don't
I'm
get
saying.
downfield,
Right, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
but other than that, he's just a penalty
and that's what
machine.
every single corner on the Pats can't do.
Right,
what he can.
Right, which
I
is
think
why
you
he
take
was
Revis away. That defense is trash.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying because just having Revis,
secondary.
So guess what? If they don't get him back, good luck. You're gonna get torched in the secondary.
They're gonna have to. I think they're gonna have to shell out
you
money
have to
for
pay.
it. Yeah,
You have to.
Yeah.
And he's only got. Realistically, he's only got 5 years max left in his career.
Well, I mean, that's
the Jets are going after him.
Yeah, I saw that. So
right, and even during the season too, which is
they got
bringing some.
tampering.
I think it'd be stupid if Buffalo went after him. Buffalo stacked that corner. Why would you want to go pay someone else?
I don't think
top
they
dollar?
will. I mean,
I don't think Ryan would want him back. To be completely honest, he's just that kind of guy.
That's a rumor that's going around.
Yeah, I know.
But
all right, so
everybody wants Revis.
So I guess we were kind of heading this way anyway, but we're gonna do the off-season talk. We're gonna continue with the bottom third of the draft. So besides last week, we've done just a third of the draft every week, just kind of picking or just debating what team needs what and who they should go after in the first round of the draft. This week, we're going to be starting off with Benelli's boys, the Bengals, who have the 21st pick. Benelli, who do they get in the draft, and what position do they need? And you were reading an article, you texted us beforehand that, was it the Bleacher Report was saying that they needed a corner in the first round, and that's garbage to begin with. But what do they really need?
Linebacker. They need to go to linebacker, okay?
With Perfect?
Perfect, that he showed signs that he could be one of the best linebackers. Injuries have deemed him, and he's also one of those guys off field. So, but the thing with him is he's not quick.
Right.
The thing with Maliuga,
he's like a high tower type player.
The guy I like is Emmanuel Lemur, who stepped in for Perfect and played pretty solid, but they don't have a speed linebacker. They don't have a guy that's just. I don't even want a bull rush passer. I want someone that you're going to get 10 tackles a game. I don't care if you get a sack, but you'll get 10 tackles a game because of your speed. You're going to meet the guy coming around the end, the running back coming around the end. You're going to be right there face to face. We need a speed linebacker, so I think we need to go in that direction. I don't know why in God's name that I read an article that they need to go to the secondary because I don't believe that at all. I think the one thing you do fix in the secondary is you release Terrence Newman because I don't want to pay him anymore. Right. He's not good. Right. He's washed up completely. Yeah. He's 36 years old. He's Champ Bailey's age, and I would rather have Champ Bailey than him. So I think you get rid of him, and you give the younger guys a shot. Darqueze Dennard, I don't know if you remember seeing him in college. He could play.
Yeah,
he could play. Put him in there. Yep. You got Pac-Man still. You got Hall still. Mm-hmm. And you got him and Kirkpatrick. So, there's your 4. I think you're fine there.
So who do they go after?
Too old.
So who do they go after in the draft?
I have no idea.
The problem is there's not many linebackers in the draft. So I was going to counter with what we need. I was going to say we can always go offensive line. There is no team in the NFL that should ever say that they're set at offensive line. That's one position you can never have enough of.
I think the same with defensive line.
Yeah.
That's
Same
what
thing,
that's
yeah.
what I was.
I mean,
That's what I was gonna say.
On both sides of the line, you can never have enough
I'm gonna
depth.
say that I'd rather them go offensive line than defensive line because that defensive line is good when healthy, very good when healthy. And Atkins is going to be back and healthy, but yeah. After that money we just paid Dalton, I don't think they're going to waste.
No, they can't go after someone for like another 5 years.
Let's see. Tight end, they got Gresham. Who's the other tight end?
Gresham and Eifert.
Yeah,
Eifert was hurt.
They're
good everywhere
good
except for linebacker, and I think
maybe another
not
wide
safety.
receiver.
No, Sanu's good. He's big. He's good. I like him.
And he did have a couple really good games when Green was
hurt.
Yeah.
So honestly, I don't look.
They have Hill and Bernard in the backfield.
And Sazenbacher, who's like trying to be another Edelman, and or Brett and Burson, like one of those little small.
And then there's
guys.
Rex.
I was just gonna say defense, either
Burkhart,
right?
Rex Burkhart.
Yeah.
I was gonna say defensive line.
I like offensive line. The defensive line's good.
I mean, both are really realistic.
But you have to remember,
you have.
I think you have the best left tackle in football.
Yeah.
If it's not Joe Thomas, you have Andrew Whitworth,
right.
who's the best left tackle in football. But he's 34, and that's one of those positions where you get banged up.
Yeah,
you got to put someone behind him that can kind of shadow him
and develop. Yeah.
So I like offensive line. I think that's where you need to go. But I think we're set on offense. I mean, you have the weapons. Now you have the two-headed monster with Hill and Bernard.
Right.
I mean, on top of great receivers. So I think you go offensive line, but I think you really have to go linebacker. Unfortunately, weak draft for linebackers. Maybe steal someone later in the draft, and hopefully he turns out to be something.
Cap spit off.
You got to look at those free agents, though. You keep saying free agency, and I agree with you. That's always a good place to look. But you got to look at the guys that are free agents this year. It is real slim pickings. It really is. There's a few teams that you know that they're going to re-sign. You know, they're going to try to reconfigure a contract. It's a real slim pickings in the free agency, unless you want to go pick up a guy who's 40 years old, and I don't like when they do that.
Right.
I don't like when they do that. Go get someone who's young, let them develop, and build for down the road.
All right, so at the 22nd pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers, what do they need, and who are they going to grab?
Offensive line. No, they need offensive line.
Roethlisberger was getting destroyed in that game.
And I think that's a big reason why that they lost. Because even if you look at the Patriots game against Baltimore, Brady got sacked, once by Terrell Suggs, but then you had Vollmer shut down Doomerville.
Exactly.
And besides that, if Solder had help, Suggs wasn't getting into the backfield.
No. So I agree. You need offensive line.
If you have them doing
I think it's
very
safe to
well
say that whole division needs offensive line, except for sadly Cleveland.
And I think kind of
with Patino and Thomas.
Kind of what you said too,
and Alex Mack.
There's the linebackers. It's kind of slim there, and I do think that. They got James Harrison to come back to.
Who's like
Timmons is good.
Lawrence
Timmons is good.
Lawrence Timmons have Shazier there too.
Ryan Shazier.
Yeah.
He didn't really
play.
They have
Stephon Tuitt, who's a rookie this year, who's going to develop into a role. He's a defensive end, but I guess they move him back to outside linebacker.
I would almost
Timmons
agree.
Is good, but Harrison's old, man.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, I love Harrison.
And Harrison was only really back because they had...
they didn't have
They needed him.
Because
of injuries, like
the defensive coordinator... they just let him go, too.
Yeah.
Or he walked away. It was like Dick LeBeau.
Grandpa, yeah.
Yeah, and
73.
And that was the only reason why Harrison came back.
Right.
So I don't think Harrison stays that much longer either because he doesn't want to.
No, he doesn't stay this year.
No, he doesn't.
He's not there. You need linebackers.
Yeah.
Weak draft for linebackers.
Well, yeah. So I mean, I think
and the other thing is, you go lineman, but you look. Really, there's only one dominant lineman in this draft that would go in the first round.
And he would probably go earlier anyway.
Yeah. At a USC, so I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of speculation, but I think you got to go offensive line there, especially later in the draft. I mean, if you had a good enough season that you're having a later in the draft pick, it means that your offense is normally pretty solid. Just got to fix the offensive line. So
or defensive line on the other side. Yeah. All right. So with the 23rd pick, we have the Detroit Lions. What do they need?
D-line if they don't get Sue. They
but,
have to.
But like that's something that they're going to try and lock up early. So.
He wants so much. So you're going to lose one of the two because Fairley wants to get paid and Sue wants to get paid.
Well, you got to take Sue.
I was going to say you take Sue over Fairley.
You have to. Yeah. But Fairley's
he's
top
good.
10 too.
Oh, definitely.
But you can only pay one or the other.
Right.
They're not going to be able to constrict
a
contract.
So here's the thing. Say a couple scenarios. First one, they let Sue stay. They let Fairley walk. what would they need in the draft at that point?
If you keep Sue,
Yes.
you got to go secondary. All they have is Darius Slay.
Yeah,
They have Rasheed Mathis, who's 35,
Right.
and they have Darius Slay.
Right.
Darius Slay's good. You got one guy back there.
All right. So they let Sue go. Keep Fairley. Who do they need at that point? A
Let
D
Sue-
tackle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you got to go with a D tackle.
No, I think you got to go D end. I think you got to go D end at that.
With,
I was going to say
Ezekiel?
linebacker.
With Ezekiel Asna on that D end as well.
Yeah, I mean he had a great year.
Yeah, he did.
Great year.
Monster year.
He's big. But the thing is, going back to what I said with the secondary, you have Glover Quinn, who's, I mean, he's good.
Yeah.
He's real good. So I think, the safety position's locked up. That's fine. But linebacker,
Or corner.
they
I feel
have
like
two,
I
like-
said corner.
Oh, you did? Okay.
That's what I
I was
said.
going to say is every time I watch the Lions, I always feel like
They-
they don't have anyone who can guard anyone.
No,
Right.
Rasheed
So they're in
Mathis,
that shootout
Rasheed Mathis and
every
Darius
week.
Slay.
Right.
Those guys are good.
So
But
Stafford
Mathis
does
is
have to
old
throw like
and
390 plus every
Right,
week
but
for
Mathis
them
is
to
still
win.
good.
Right.
But he's 35 and spent majority of his career in Jacksonville.
Right.
And Slay is a rookie this year, and
Right.
he had a heck of a year. So you got one solid guy that you can count on. I think you go in the secondary. But here's the scenario: what happens if they don't get Sue or Fairley?
Right. That was gonna be my third one.
Then they
What
have
if-
Then you have to go
all-
D-line.
then you have to go GT. You have.
I think
to.
they'll
There's no
sign
option.
one or the two. I think
Two.
that's their goal is to
How about
sign.
this? It's easier. It's going to be easier to construct a contract with Fairley. It really is.
Oh yeah, definitely. My question is, would Stafford take a pay cut to keep both? Because he got a huge contract last
They
year.
did.
And wasn't it that
Couldn't he
Didn't-
pull like a Brady and
Well,
take a salary
didn't-
cut to keep both
didn't
those guys?
Sue? I think I heard Sue actually took a pay cut for Stafford to get that contract.
So kind of like throw him the bone back too.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty. I think
No,
I'm
he
pretty
did.
sure I
Sue
heard
did.
that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Because
Sue
they
did,
want
yeah.
because you want to
Sue
win
got
in
a
Detroit.
huge contract.
Yeah.
Right, he did, and then
His
they-
rookie contract was
Out of
absolutely
Nebraska.
ridiculous.
His contract was stupid.
Yeah.
because that was
it was
that
the
before
largest
the
rookie contract ever.
was
and
that
that's
before the
here's the
including
other
CBA?
thing you
Sam
gotta
Was that
Bradford.
before
remember.
the, that
Sam
was before the
Bradford.
Here's the other thing you got to
right?
keep in mind. Within the next 2 years, Golden Tate's going to want to get paid.
Yeah.
You got to think about that. He's going to want to get paid after the year he had.
Right,
He's going to want to say, "Look, you're paying Calvin a lot. I want some money."
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
because when Calvin
So
went
now
down,
you got
Tate
to the
stepped
money
up.
ends
and
at
he was
some
huge
point.
for them. Yeah.
So you got to figure that out.
So what do the Lions need really badly right now, short term? Like, say they want to win
Luckily,
everything
they'll know
next year.
who's coming back on the D line
Yeah.
before the draft. So
So they
I'm
can
not-
kind of work
you
around
got to
it.
wait and see. Yeah, I think you got to wait and see with them.
All right. So with the 24th pick, we have the Arizona Cardinals. Who do they need?
Wide receiver.
Why?
Wide receiver. Because they're not going to get Fitzgerald back, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
They have John Brown, and that's it.
They gotta. Do you think they should?
Secondary is perfect. Defense is perfect.
Yeah.
All right, maybe not. I wouldn't
Bulls
say.
molded that
Quarterback?
defense to be great
Yes,
anyway.
No one's there.
No,
No one's there.
I wasn't gonna say first round. I was gonna say because in the fact that you know that they
Palmer's
obviously
coming
didn't-
back.
Right, but he's injury.
How's he
going
going to be? How's
He's
he gonna
injury
be?
prone.
He's
This is
come
the-
off of too many serious injuries.
Yeah.
2 torn
Well,
ACLs.
And I'm saying for a security blanket for him. I mean, maybe they
Lindley
go out-
is garbage.
Right,
Get
he's
him.
terrible.
Sucks.
And Logan,
Lindley
they,
does
I
not
don't know
deserve to be
why
in the
they
NFL.
didn't start Logan Thomas. I didn't understand
Me
that.
neither.
Because he can run around a little
And
bit.
he's got a cannon.
Right.
Yeah, he does.
I didn't understand that. So I think they need to get a security blanket somewhere if it's
Awful.
not in free agency or in
So maybe like the
draft.
second or third round they pick up a quarterback.
Yeah,
I
but
think they go receiver.
First round.
First.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, I mean you definitely want to build.
I think you
off
go
that.
really
receiver
think
even
you
if
need
you get
any
Larry
deep-
Fitzgerald back.
Yeah, definitely. You have to build depth at the position.
John Brown's going to be good.
Yeah, he is.
Yep.
And
proved
the
that.
secondary's golden.
No, I was
Golden
going
in
to
the
say, I really don't
secondary.
think they need anything on their defense. They have a
Defense.
great
No,
defense. They're in
Yeah.
fantasy this year. Got me tons of points.
Maybe they go center. Snyder's old, but
He can still last a couple.
yeah, but I
I
mean,
feel like you can get a center later though.
Yeah,
I,
because
I think they need to work on their. They
I'm-
need
I'm-
strictly
Stork went in the
offense.
third.
I'm just saying.
no,
He did
no,
all right
you can
this year.
get an offensive lineman up until the 7th round. You can get a solid offensive
Right,
lineman.
that's what
It
I-
just matters if you're willing to wait that long
Right.
in a if it's a small market for offensive linemen. Unfortunately, you kind of got to waste a pick earlier. But yeah,
Right.
you can get an offensive lineman in any round, really.
Right. All right, so we move to the 25th pick, Carolina Panthers.
Wide receiver.
Wide receiver.
You got
Again.
to build with Kelvin.
If I'm, you know what? If I'm Carolina, I'm trying to move up. I'm trying to make a trade. I'm trying to move up in the draft to try to get one of the, like, maybe obviously not get Cooper, but try to move up because I don't know.
There's only 3 wide receivers in this draft. There's only 3 wide receivers in this draft.
I agree.
Jalen Strong from Arizona State, Kevin White from Pittsburgh, and Amari Cooper from
And I'm saying you
Alabama.
should probably need to get
all
one
3
of
are
those
probably
3.
going to go in the first round.
And Panthers have some. I feel like they could move up, and I think they should move up and try to get a receiver because I think if you got Kelvin Benjamin on one side, you get a solid rookie receiver on the other side, and then you have Greg Olsen there at tight end.
So
I think that's solid.
The other thing
So
is,
how many picks would they have to move up in order for that to even
I mean,
happen?
that's such a toss.
They're not going to get Cooper because
No.
he's going to go in the top
I think
10.
they can maybe get Kevin White, maybe move up to what, like 10?
15 and 10 to 15.
10 to
you need
15,
move up.
yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
like 12 at
Yeah.
Now, if
That's
you
what
get
you
Kevin
shoot
White,
for.
if you get Kevin White, you're scary
yeah.
because he's 6'5" and he's faster
Right,
than
that's
Benjamin.
what I'm
Right,
saying.
and
And
then
then
you
you
have
have
dual-
Benjamin on that
Right.
side.
Oh.
That's scary.
That's
That-
what I'm saying.
that's-
Just going back to the cornerback,
that's
talking
like
about how
Brandon
You
Mo-
can't guard someone like
that's
that.
what I'm
That's
saying.
like Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey. Big,
And
fast
I
guys on the
said this. I
outside.
think, and I've seen this in mock drafts, I think that Kevin White is going to be better than Amari Cooper. I really do.
He very well could
Size-wise,
be.
yeah. So that would be a steal.
Carolina really.
That'd be horrendous if they got Kevin White, like for every other team. Like, because how do you defend that?
Yeah, and that'd
2'6" guys that can
That's
both
what I'm
run down the
saying.
field
I
with
think
with
that-
hands like hell. Yeah,
But he's got to fix his hands, man. Kelvin dropped a lot of passes. You want to
Yeah,
talk about
he
someone
did.
dropping passes?
yeah,
He had 1,000 yards this
Yeah.
year. It was even. It was 1,001 yards.
Yeah.
That's what he had.
yeah.
He could have had like
Like,
1,300
at
easy.
least-
He
Yeah.
dropped so many.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a
In the
rookie.
game
He'll
against
figure it
Seattle.
out. He'll figure
No,
it
he's
out.
great.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
great. I
he'll
love
figure it out.
All right, so at the 26th pick, we have the Baltimore Ravens. What do they need?
Secondary.
Secondary.
Of course.
Always.
I like that. I shouldn't have even really asked that question
You
because
get rid of Ladarius Webb.
yeah,
He's a head case. He's not good. You keep Jimmy Smith's great.
yeah,
I like Jimmy
he's one
Smith.
of their best players all around this year, in my opinion.
But
And Matt Elam at
Yeah,
safety is
Elam
really
is
good, too.
He's young still though.
Yeah.
But
I was gonna say
CJ Mosley, they don't have a
Linebacker.
problem in the
I
middle.
was gonna say D line because Suggs is.
Suggs is old, I guess.
you're gonna-
Doomerville's getting old too, I guess.
You know what?
That's-
Jurgen in
They
the
also,
middle.
they also,
Cody's gone.
They're also kind of tight end of pride though
That's-
too. I mean, they had Pita or
That's
Pieta,
an-
Pieta, but-
Dennis Pitta. That's another
But he also
position you can get later in the draft.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah. But I'm saying
you
though,
had
that's
Owen,
something that they need to.
Owen Daniels did really good this year
yeah,
though.
he
considering
was alright. He was,
I think
he was
you
just
do
alright.
have to go
I-
D line.
you could go
Age
D line.
wise, you got to get D
That's
line.
what I'm.
Your linebacking core is fine
Yeah.
because you
You
can
got
build. You can
Suggs.
always build around.
Yeah.
You can always build around
CJ Mosley is that play caller.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
But secondary, yeah, you need to get a cornerback for sure.
So I think I agree with you guys. I think they go secondary or D line.
Some are defense.
Yeah. All right. So at the 27th pick, we have the Dallas Cowboys. Where do they go?
They're interesting too. If they, we're talking,
They
sign-
could
are they
do
ju-
that secondary
Are they going to?
because they always need better secondary for that team.
I like Orlando.
I think they
Scandrick.
need to go defense. I think defense is definitely what they.
So they, I don't think they.
Assuming
Remember,
they
Sean
sign-
Lee will be back.
No,
Right.
And assuming
Healthy.
that they sign Dez, which they most likely will.
Right.
Don't.
That team just goes.
But I mean, I think they're going to pay
Sideways.
Dez. I mean, because it's interesting. You come
You
down
pay
to,
Dez,
or
then
do
you
you
let
pay-
DeMarco go.
and then that makes you think. Well, I mean, you're not going to draft a running back in the first round.
Well, Randall just got arrested, so
That's what I.
he's
So
going to
maybe
definitely be
that's
suspended
what
for at
I
least
was
4
just about to
games.
say
and
that.
now that
Randall's at least suspended for 4
That's
games.
really-
right
that's
after the
very
start of the
interesting.
season.
That's
because
what I
I
was
think
going to say.
if
I
you're
think you get
Dallas-
I don't think you need to go
I mean, the
secondary.
running.
You have Morris Claiborne, Orlando Scandrick.
I think that's
Those
very
guys are
interesting.
young. Those guys are good.
I was going to say, I think you need a running.
You
back.
need to sign Dez. I'm sorry. If you the way the NFL
They're
is
not going to
now-
let. There's no way.
There's
Jerry
no way.
Jones is going to let Dez
Dez-
or Demarco go.
Yeah, he's
So
gonna
which
he's
one's
gonna
gonna
shell
take
out
a
the
pay
money
cut?
for them.
Demarco will take a pay cut.
I
He
think
doesn't have the ego and
No,
attitude.
he does. He wants money.
He does want
wants
money, but he knows
the
that
numbers he put up this year.
But
you
he
play-
knows the team that has the money to sign him is going to be a bottom barrel team, and he does not want to go to a bottom barrel team.
Like
he
the
could
whole-
take a pay cut if it meant going to like a team that's not going to compete.
But even then, say DeMarco takes a pay cut. Say Dez gets all the money that he wanted, every freaking penny. Who are they gonna have to let go? Because they gave Sean Lee this huge
You got a
extension
big deal
before
too.
he blew out his knee because of Doug Free.
Yeah.
So or Doug,
I don't know.
Was it Doug Free?
I have no idea.
It was one of the
All I
rookie
know
offensive
is-
linemen. So
all I know
because
is
of
it
that,
was
you're
a
gonna be
stupid play.
you're gonna be giving.
No, they gave Travis Frederick, the center, a huge deal.
They gave Frederick, they gave Sean Lee.
I'm
then you
saying-
get Dez, DeMarco, and Romo
But
on
it's
top
Jerry
of that.
Jones.
No, but I'm saying
He configures money.
Jerry
No,
Jerry
no.
Jones has deep pockets, but how many of these guys can
that's
shell
what I'm
out
saying.
So-
double
50.
digits
Well,
to
if I'm
every
also
year?
Jerry Jones, I'm looking and I'm saying, you know what? If I let DeMarco go, I can go into the draft with my offensive line because let's be real now.
That
One of the
offensive
best.
line is scary.
That offensive line is
That's
very
scary
good.
good.
You could put
I
anyone
could get
back
a
there.
young guy, could get a running back in the draft and not pay him that much money.
You can
And
get
then he
Melvin
could
Gordon.
basically, and if he doesn't put up DeMarco numbers,
Gordon.
he'll still put up
Melvin
great
Gordon,
numbers.
You can get Melvin Gordon.
You could get what's his face out of Georgia?
Gurley coming
Yeah.
off
Oh,
an
yeah.
torn
Yeah.
ACL.
Yeah, I don't know if you
No, I can see the Cowboys. The Cowboys do stuff
It's
like
a-
that
it's
all
a
the
late-
This is
time.
the
It's a
thing that
late
no one
round
talks about
risk
that adds
pick.
up in the end. You release all those guys that had a decent year, but they're no-name guys that are going to want like more money. You can get rid of those guys, and the money will add up. And in the end,
So
you can get the
that's
big-name
just
guys
what-
So
you
I,
want.
I think that their defense or their depth will take a hit to re-sign
If you release
those
a
guys.
guy like Cole Beasley, who's going to want money after the year he had, that will free up a lot of room to sign DeMarco Murray. I'm sorry, they need to sign DeMarco Murray and Des Bryant. They have to.
They have to, I think, to
Because
stay.
I think that
to
what
stay
I
at
think
the
they're going
level
to
they're at.
disagree on though is the wear and tear that DeMarco took this season.
Yep.
He literally he led the league in carries.
So what
He
are you
led the-
arguing, though?
I'm saying that they're gonna say that DeMarco, there's a chance that you might not be the same guy that you were last year, or that you may be injury prone because of the wear and tear that you took. And also, this was the first year that they actually made it pretty decently far into the playoffs. So you had
I don't
all
think they're
those
going to
kids.
say that. I agree, but with what you're saying, that he probably is not going to be as dominant as he was this year. But I
He
don't agree
took-
with that at all. Because they know that no matter who they bring in is not going to be better than DeMarco Murray.
right.
Right.
I agree with that, but I'm
So-
saying though
Even
is
if,
that they might
even
take a
if
hit.
Joseph Randall starts, he's not as good as DeMarco Murray by
Lance
stretch.
Dunbar is better than Joseph Randall,
Right.
who's their third string.
Right, but I'm just saying though is that I think that they're gonna hold this against him, and I think that this is gonna be like a negotiation process that's gonna take a very long time. And I don't know if they're gonna see eye to eye. I don't, because I think the numbers that DeMarco put up, he's gonna want a huge contract. He's gonna want to be one of the
But he
highest paid
also
running
is a
backs in
guy
the-
that hates to lose, and he's not going to take
But
the
he's
money
also- but
to
he's
go
al-
to a team that's not going to
But
win.
he's
a
also
business
a
guy.
running back, which is
Yeah.
a very short-lived position in the NFL. And this is the time where he's going to want the most money for his personal well-being.
Yeah,
Obviously.
I
It's
can
more.
understand that.
It's more than just he
Because
wants to win. He's looking out for his best interest, and right now, going into this contract negotiation, he's not going to get a bigger contract for the rest of his life,
I
other than this
All right,
contract.
I can
He knows
understand
that too.
Like I definitely agree with you, because if you look at the way that he's going, especially after this year, if he leads the leagues in carries for like the next 3-4 seasons, he's going to retire by like 34.
Right,
And
NFL
or
running backs
even
don't
before
last
that.
long,
Yeah.
especially
Especially when
running
you have like a
that
6 or
runs
7
that hard.
year.
Who runs
Yeah.
that hard and as many carries as he's getting?
Yeah, you last 6 or 7 years. I mean, it's why Marshawn Lynch is like ruining his back.
Right, and you know that that's going to be their game plan, because you saw finally Romo was able to play up to his full potential when he wasn't
Dez is more
wasn't
important than
throwing the
DeMarco
ball.
Murray is.
Oh, he definitely
Dez
is.
more
He
Absolutely.
100%
and
is.
more important. And Jason Witten's getting old too. So
I don't see them.
So he only has a couple more years left.
They have Gavin Escobar, who's 6'8" tight end. They
Yeah.
don't. They're not worried about getting a tight end.
6'8" doesn't mean anything at tight end, because the Bills could definitely use Scott Chandler more in the red zone, and he does almost nothing for them.
But
a
that's
lot
not
of the
his
time.
fault.
Oh,
If
no,
they're
it's not
lobbing
his
the ball,
fault, but,
so
like-
6'8" does mean something if they're utilizing the guy. It's not like he's not good at 6'8".
Oh, I'm saying that they definitely need to include him more, but I mean, it's just
I think
would he be able to take over fully
I
for
wouldn't
Witten?
be surprised if the Cowboys did get a running back in the first round.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by it.
I think
either.
so too, and I think even if they do say they do end up signing DeMarco,
I
you
wouldn't be
gotta
surprised if they
know
got a
that
wide
he might
receiver.
he might go down with an injury. I'm just saying, like he's a human being. Like he took a beating this year. I mean, he
Yeah.
did very well. He was the best running back in the league, obviously, but
I don't think he was the best. He was the best, but I don't.
statistically wise, he was the best.
I think Bell was better.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you
Okay,
on that.
yeah.
Because look at the offensive line that Pittsburgh had, and then look at the
Versus
offensive line that
Dallas,
Dallas had.
Oh.
But that's what
And
I'm saying.
without Bell, Roethlisberger wouldn't have done anything.
No, he wouldn't have.
Yeah,
Neither would have been
What else-
Antonio
because-
Brown,
because
and
he-
neither would have Martavius Bryant. Because,
Yeah, because
Bell was
he-
the safety
Because
blanket.
Roethlisberger wouldn't have had any time. Play action passes were
Oh, he's-
phenomenal
oh,
for
I
them.
know.
All right, so at the 28th pick, we have the Denver Broncos, and Peyton Manning's still in limbo. You have a new transition with almost a fully new staff over there. How do you
Don't any of you say quarterback.
How do you restart?
I wasn't going to say
How do you
quarterback.
jumpstart?
Manning's coming back.
How do you
Even if he doesn't come back, still don't say quarterback.
all right,
Osweiler.
how do you where do you start? Where do you kickstart this team again?
I was gonna say defense.
Where?
They can't afford to keep all these guys on defense though, so they might have to let a couple of them go.
Where? That secondary is
Good.
got to be the best.
Best. Okay.
You got Bradley Roby, who
Yep.
had easily the best
until
as a rookie. He had the best.
Maybe
Chris Harris Jr.
No,
Where are
He's
you
got
going?
that filthy extension too.
T.J. Ward, he had a good year too. I mean, not as good as he has, but he had a good year for what?
Considering, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think you go defense. That defensive line is crazy. You keep those linebackers healthy, crazy. Where are you going on defense?
I was
secondary-
I was gonna say not linebacker, but I mean,
So where do you go? So you don't go defense. Where do you go?
You always get a solid. You can never go wrong with like a solid offensive lineman. Like it's
I mean,
always
yeah,
a
but-
safety. It's always a good pick. I mean, I don't know. Like their team is stacked. Like honestly, I was gonna say this before.
C.J.
like,
Anderson has the job.
Yes.
Yes,
They're
you
going to
Over
still
Monte
pay.
Ball.
They're still going to pay Monte Ball though.
Right.
You
They're
don't
gonna keep
need.
Monte
You don't
Ball.
need receivers.
You don't need receivers. You don't need a tight end.
Yep. Okay.
Although,
Well,
Julius
hold on.
Thomas
Hold on.
was that a little off year.
yeah.
All right.
he did.
Oh, well, hold on. I have a question because, again, kind of like the Cowboys, they have big contracts for DeMarcus Ware. Chris Harris Jr. just got that huge extension.
Mhm.
T.J. Ward,
Von
Aqib
Miller.
Talib. Then they're gonna have to pay Demarius Thomas. Peyton Manning also has a big contract. C.J. Anderson's gonna want money.
But what you don't
Monte Ball's
understand
gonna
is-
want money. Julius Thomas is gonna
No,
want
I
money.
What you
think-
don't understand is if Peyton walks, they're golden. They keep everybody.
Right, but like, say Peyton comes back, then you also have like Ryan Clady, Ramirez. Like these guys are gonna get paid. Knighton's gonna
That
get paid
team
at
is,
some
they're
point. Too.
like honestly on paper, they're probably the best team in the NFL.
Yeah, that's why I don't know where you have to go.
I don't even
defensive.
know
That
where you
line-
even go. Honestly, here I think that's an interesting
these
pick.
next four teams, I don't know where. I think you could. I think.
Well, I think there's a lot of holes in other teams. I'm just saying I don't think
Right.
Denver doesn't have
No,
any
Ryan
holes.
Clady doesn't. Ryan Clady's been in the league now for 4 years and hasn't made a dime. He's a great offensive lineman. He hasn't
Right.
made a dime. I don't think he doesn't need a huge contract.
Right, I'm just saying, like, you have, I mean, all right, fine, take out Clady. You still have a bunch of guys that are either getting paid or going to get paid. There's a cap limit in the NFL that I think they're going to come really close to breaking
You
at
also
some
have
point.
to understand. We're using wants to get paid way too loosely. Every guy wants to get paid in the
definitely,
NFL.
yeah.
Every person wants to get paid in the NFL.
Right.
But they're not. There's guys that are not gonna just say, "Okay, I'm gonna walk away from having the possibility to win championships to
Right.
go get paid on some bum team."
Yep.
We're naming way too many guys. There's no way that they're gonna lose 9 of their top players because they don't have the money to pay them. There's just not.
You would like that if they lost 9 of their top 10 players.
But it's not
I think
gonna happen.
every team would.
It's not
But
gonna
like,
happen though.
but like, all right, say they don't even get that giant contract. Even if they get like that medium size
3-year
contract,
20 mil.
like even something like that, that still adds up. That still doesn't leave you too
Right,
much room
but-
to grow or to add depth.
Right, but so Emmanuel Sanders, Demarius Thomas, are they gonna be like, "All right, we're out. We're gonna leave Peyton Manning. We're gonna go somewhere."
Well, I think
don't
No,
think
they're not
Emmanuel Sanders. How big was that deal that Emmanuel Sanders
Nothing.
got?
Nothing because when he came
it was
out
just
of
an
Pittsburgh,
offer
he was a
sheet.
bum.
Yeah, it was just
It
an
was a
offer sheet.
bum.
He was a bum.
He was not.
He was a bum.
He was not a bum.
He was a bum.
He was not a bum.
It's unprofessional to pull out my phone while I'm on live TV, but I will pull out my phone to prove to you that he was a bum. I will pull it out to prove to you right now that he was a bum. And stats can't lie at a receiver position because it goes by how many catches you get and how many yards you get. He was a bum. So I will pull it up. You three continue.
No, all I'm saying is that, I mean, realistically, Denver has to realize that they might get into trouble money-wise.
You
You
have.
have. All right, that's the
Welker-
smartest thing you've said all show.
Welker has to
Actually,
retire.
Welker's a bum.
Has to retire.
That he is a bum.
Walker's a bum. All right?
Like there's nothing that he can do anymore that makes a team go, we really want him.
He's the Brady effect.
He's wearing like a
It's the Brady effect.
exactly. He's wearing a double XL helmet so that because of all of his concussions, so he can play a game. His head is like
All right, smiling is
super
something I
small.
enjoy. Smiling is something I enjoy. Once
Oh,
I read this,
jeez.
I will smile. First season in Pittsburgh, 13 catches, 28 yards, 1 touchdown.
That was his
Bum
first
year.
shit.
Bum year. Don't argue. It was his first
It was
year.
first year.
Mike Evans was one of the
First
best
year.
receivers in the NFL this year. Was his
First
first year. How many rookie receivers did we just name that had
It was first.
Odell
Read the
Beckham-
rest of it. Read the rest of it.
second year, 2011, 11 catches for 22 yards.
Read it again.
11
No,
catches.
no. The next one.
So that's 2 years.
Yeah.
The third year, he had 44 catches for 280 yards. Awful. His final year in Pittsburgh was his best year. 67 catches for 620 yards.
That's not a bum.
That is a bum. 3
That is
years.
not a bum. That is
3
not a
years
bum. That is not a-
fits. 3 years combined, he didn't have 1,000 yards receiving.
Right.
Odell
I'm saying that
Beckham
last
had-
year though, he wasn't a bum though. In his last year in Pittsburgh, he was not a bum.
It took him 3 years to get 800 yards.
Look at his stats this year. How?
Right, he was a bum in Pittsburgh. He's not now. He was a bum in Pittsburgh.
No, I don't think so. Not the first 3 years.
800 yards receiving in 3 years is not a bum.
Well,
When
the
Odell
first 3
Beckham
years,
had
the first-
1,300 yards
in-
with Eli Manning in 9 games.
But I'm saying that last year in Pittsburgh, he's not a bum. You can't say he was a bum in his last year in Pittsburgh.
I'm going to pull up receivers that had 600 yards this year, and you tell me if they're not bums. We're doing this until you tell me that I'm right.
All right, fine, Benelli, you're right.
600 yards is a bum year.
It's not a bum year. It's not. It's not. I'm just
Eric
saying
Decker-
it's a
Eric
good year, but it's not a bum year.
Eric Decker had an amazing year, right?
He did get to 1,000. Did he get to 1,000 yards?
I don't think so.
Well, I hope not with those two quarterbacks thrown to him.
Jeez.
All right, next.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
keep going.
I have to look.
All right, so next team, as we continue this after that whole thing, is at the 29th pick. We have the Colts. I mean, where do you fit in there? I mean, you definitely need a depth at wide receiver for Andrew
they need
Luck,
receivers. They 100%
Yeah.
need, but I don't know what they're going to be able to do from that.
because Moncrief and Hilton are only going to go up from where they are. But you have Reggie Wayne, who's going to be done. He's like Peyton Manning
The
done.
defense is good.
962 yards for Decker this year.
Okay. Yeah, he did.
No,
All right,
I didn't know. I knew he was close.
I have to go to the 5th page of the receiving this year to get someone that had 600 yards, just so you know. So I'm going to pull it up. All right, let me read you guys. Shane Vereen. Shane Vereen.
Running back.
Shane Vereen. Stedman Bailey. Tell me who Stedman Bailey is, and I'll let you say that you're right. Who's Stedman Bailey?
It's a wide receiver.
For who?
Tennessee.
No. For the Rams. Thank you. My point has been proven.
Tennessee Rams.
Bum. He was a bum until he went to Denver. He's good now. He is good. He deserves to get paid.
But why did I think he was good? There was definitely a reason why I thought he was good in Pittsburgh.
Because he's quick.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a Percy Harvin effect.
How bad was Percy Harvin was a bum. He still is a bum. He's always been a bum.
He's just getting paid a ton of money, bum.
Because he's quick.
right.
He's
Because
a
of-
bum.
Because
Well, you
of
put him in
because
the
of the
backfield,
Super
which
Bowl.
You can't really do a lot with a lot of other receivers. Right? Yeah, and he was Super Bowl. Yeah. No,
Because of the Super
Emmanuel
Bowl, like-
Sanders is the third option on that team in offense.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know why. Okay, I mean, like, I don't know
It
why.
happens.
It's all
It's
right.
tough to argue with that. I know. It happens.
I don't know why I thought he would, but I feel like there was a reason why. Because like
welcome to
when
my
he,
seat.
when he went to Denver, then everyone was
He
like,
got
"Oh,
really
that's
good. That's a good
no,
move.
no." But I'm saying though, people
Everyone
were
said
like,
it's a good move.
right? Yeah.
Okay,
Right, and,
because
like, even the
speed.
And the
Speed
Patriots.
kills.
That's why.
I was gonna say the Pats went after him for
Speed
2 years in a
kills.
row.
I mean, maybe I just went off potential wise because he probably had he definitely had.
He's not a bum potential wise
No,
those first 3
right.
years because he's quick.
Statistically,
He's
he
stat,
was,
but he was
though.
probably
Statistically, he was a bum.
Yeah.
But speed wise, yeah, he has potential.
Yeah.
And he's great
yeah,
now.
Yeah, obviously.
So,
yeah, no.
but he has Peyton thrown on him.
All right.
And then he had
We have-
Roethlisberger.
We have the
but-
Colts.
We have the Colts now.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
What
I
do
said
they need?
receiver.
I agree with receiver.
Yeah.
They have Moncrief and they have
Hilton.
Hilton, but
But
Wayne's gone.
Wayne's washed up. All right, so moving to number 30, we have the Green Bay Packers.
Just kidding.
what pick would they have, tier buddy?
First.
Okay, so
Packers.
Yeah. Where do they go? They have a great offensive line.
good secondary.
Great receiving core. They have Lacey in the backfield.
Good
Rogers.
secondary. Good tight ends. Good secondary.
Yeah.
Secondary's good.
So,
Linebackers
I
pretty
think
good. Go D line.
I was gonna say go
Go
D-line.
D-line.
But you were missing
Yeah.
Raji this whole year.
What are you saying?
I'm just.
I mean, you could always use more D linemen. That's what we were saying earlier.
I
So
mean, it's
you
just
can
a
still go that
depth.
way.
I mean, you never know, though. I mean, you could always get a guy, and hopefully he might be good. But I think you got to go D
You have to go
line.
D line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you got to go with like a defensive end or like a D tackle.
Yeah. Okay.
I think
Just someone to help
Clay Matthews. Clay Matthews is obviously you don't need to upgrade there.
Right. Oh no.
Definitely not. So
All right.
I mean,
So I think we can just blow right by that and go to the 31st pick, which is the
yeah.
Seahawks tier, man.
Yeah, I thought it was the Pats.
Yes. All right. So what do the Seahawks need?
I think a dominant tight end.
Upgrade from Luke Wilson, who was Russell Wilson's top target for what 4 weeks in a row.
Super Bowl though. MIA.
I think it's a game plan thing more than anything. I would blame that on the Seahawks offensive
I'm
coordinator.
not commenting on that one.
I mean, obviously they need a receiver. I mean, well, we don't. I mean, Matthews is still he's unknown, so you can't be like, oh, he's gonna be our new number one guy. But I'm just saying,
Baldwin's kind of average. Same
yeah, we
with
talked about this. Yeah, Baldwin's
every other
average,
receiver that they have.
Pierce average. It's just like
Pierce just happens to make the best catch that the Seahawks will get
Lockett is
every
good.
season.
Lockett is good.
Yes.
He's good. He's
Yeah.
got
Well,
skill.
I just feel like
Norwood's a bum. Richardson's a bum.
I just feel like
Norwood
they
only
need,
got drafted
They
because
need
of
a,
Alabama.
they need a receiver, and I think maybe
I think they
going
need a
back, I
receiver.
think maybe they could
Tight end, no.
quite possibly.
He just gives you
If
a
they
shot
want to
for
go
one
to
game.
that, I mean, it's hard to say next levels here in the
No,
Super
no,
Bowl.
They just
I
give
feel
the
like
guy
they
a
wanna
contract
bring
who's
their
25
offense.
years old. You don't
No,
bring
I
in
know.
a tight end's not a position that you bring in the
I
first
just feel like
round.
in the new NFL, you need like 2 dominant tight ends.
I can agree with that to some extent. Some of the better offenses have 2
I don't-
tight ends, but it depends on who you have at wideout.
That is, and looking at that wide receiver core, I mean,
I think
no, they
I
need
think
a
Seattle
receiver.
could use a second tight end, but they
we
could
talked
also.
about how not deep that this wide receiver class is.
Going
This
back to
receiver
going back
bar
to
is
the,
nobody. Yeah.
going back to what I said about Carolina, could you quite possibly see Seattle trying to trade up for a receiver?
No.
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 Seattle
I-
is not active in the draft ever.
Yeah,
They're just not one of those teams that's active in the draft.
Right.
Well, I mean, if you look at the defense, all those guys were never really first round picks. Sherman was a late rounder.
Fifth or sixth.
Thomas was a 6th rounder.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So,
Maxwell went high though. Maxwell was drafted in the second round.
Right.
I mean,
True.
so
Yeah, but I mean,
they're set on defense. They don't need
no,
anything
they don't
No,
need
we're
anybody.
not
I
gonna
agree with
talk
you. They need a
defense.
receiver.
They need a receiver.
But
They
the
need a
problem is it's
receiver.
so weak. They're not going to try to move up. I don't
Yeah, they'll
think.
probably try to get
How
somebody
you know
free.
how far
They'll
you have to
probably
move
try
up?
to get. I know they'll probably
At
try to get
31,
somebody
yeah.
free agency for a
Yeah.
receiver.
Definitely.
Honestly, I think they know they need a
or
receiver.
like an undrafted free agent.
And going
like
into the
Matthews,
year, to their defense, they thought they had Percy Harvin.
Bomb.
Bum. But he's bad. I mean,
Bomb with a bad attitude too. Like no one wants him
Yeah.
on that team except for your New York Jets.
yeah, they got
Um,
they traded a 6th rounder for him. But
Uh,
if they sign him this year, then it turns into a 4th rounder. But if they
Oh.
don't sign him, it turns into a
Yeah.
6th rounder, which is interesting to see what they'll
Yeah.
do with that.
and
Bruce
finally
will
to
sign him.
round out
Right?
finally
right,
to
right.
round out our first round, we have the Patriots. Now
receiver.
hold on, this is
The mock draft has them getting a receiver.
all right. So I found this really hilarious. Even knowing that Will Fork's coming back, and now I don't advocate for ESPN ever. But Todd McShay in his his 2.0 mock draft had them getting Carl Davis out of Iowa at DT. And I'm just gonna give you this.
They need a receiver.
And this kid's entire season went like this: 36 total tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. That's average.
yeah, but look what they drafted last year. They got fucking Dominic Easley.
Kids dropping F-bombs on.
They got Dominic Easley last
Oh,
year,
I think they need to. All
who
right.
played a total of what, 7 games?
More games.
All right. So if they don't sign Mayo though, try to get a linebacker.
At that late though,
I mean,
What do you mean that late?
You mean that late? You mean that early?
I mean,
that late in the round, that teams that could possibly use a linebacker before.
let's be
There's
real.
no
The
linebackers in this draft.
The Pats
That's
are
what we were
probably
saying
gonna.
earlier,
The
though.
Pats
But
are
I'm
probably
saying-
gonna trade this pick.
They could.
Yeah, they could.
They're-
can see
I
that.
guarantee-
No way. No way. Trade for what?
I don't know. Belichick, they do. We want your first round. We'll take your 3rd and 4th round.
They need a receiver. They
I'm
know
not
they
dis-
need a receiver.
I'm not disagreeing with you with that.
Because
They're not
Amendola is
good.
not going to be nearly as productive as he was from playoffs in the
Look,
regular season.
Let's be honest.
And
Our
besides,
mindset's different. They
Edelman-
know that there's a look at.
You
In
have
3
Edelman,
years,
LaFell,
in 3
and
years,
Gronk.
you're gonna look at that Patriots roster and you're gonna be like, "Who the hell?" If you went into a coma now and woke up in 3 years, you'd say, who the hell is this? Who the hell is this? Who the hell is this? There's a ton of guys on the way out. They're not doing that scheme anymore. Let's trade this. We'll take your 5th, your 6th, your 7th. They're not doing that
super
anymore.
Young.
They're
They're the youngest team ever to win a Super Bowl.
Exactly.
So I'm saying
their best players are old.
Right, yeah.
And when you look, a couple years down the road, they'll all be gone, and Belichick will be gone.
Yeah.
I'll bet you money.
Yeah.
No, they're
they're done doing that. The days of scheming are over. They're content with everything they've done. They're going to take the pick. They need a receiver. They know that they're going to build. They will take a receiver.
Like, I even think that when they went after Jamie Collins and he was their first pick in the 2nd round, that's kind of a steal for that type of move.
It's a good pick.
Like, Jamie Collins is easily one of their best players on defense.
Without a doubt.
I thought they should have got Lacey that draft, but
they very well could have, but for a
But
system,
does any running back while Brady
They
is your
wouldn't
quarterback
have utilized
fit?
Lacey.
Right.
They
Does any
hardly
running back
utilize him in Green
exactly.
Bay. They don't.
Such a good. See, there's not one. No, he wouldn't fit there. He wouldn't fit there. Good point. They don't. Yeah, they don't.
They don't utilize him in Green Bay.
He does.
So. I mean,
a
they
really
do.
good running back doesn't fit with a team that passes the ball 60 times a game because they have a.
But it does
best
make Green Bay
quarterback
such a dual threat, though, because
That's
they
true.
ever decided to utilize him. Like,
Well,
when they do
Lacey-
utilize him,
when he
he's
goes
like,
out for like a pass or something
Yeah,
like that, like
Lacey
he's like a
gets-
truck going down the
Lacey
field.
has those
Yeah,
spotty injuries all the time. So.
Yeah. But even then, like you put him out for like you just dump it off to him, kind of like if Brady dumps it off to Marine. But like the difference is like Lacey will just truck guys over.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's an animal.
I could also
Earl
see
Thomas said he was
if
fat,
they could get a safety if they don't sign McCourty.
You got to understand though the
Well, like the whole thing is
There's
that
no one out
they
there,
did
that's
lock
the
down
issue.
Chung for 3 years, and
Collins
Chung is
Collins will be
garbage.
gone before the Pats have that pick. Landon Collins.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
He'll be
I know.
well
No,
gone
I
before
know.
they get that. Well, he's
Yeah.
the best safety in the
I know.
draft. So,
I mean,
look, honestly, what's funny is you look at mock drafts now, and I never believe them because you really can't say anything till the combine.
Right.
Because if you put Jameis Winston at number 1, and he had a great college career, and then he gets an official 40 time, and it's terrible, and he looks awful, he can drop his late to mid to late first round. So everything changes.
Mel Kiper.
All right,
had
I was gonna say-
best
I thought
prospect
it
in
was
the
6.
draft.
No,
Hold on.
Mel Kiper has Winston going 1.
No,
and then Mariota falling
going
to
6.
no,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is what Todd McShay said about Jameis Winston is that he's quote unquote the most talented between the lines quarterback since Andrew Luck, and that he's been doing it for over a decade, and that he also has
Who?
Winston going at number 1 and Mariota going at 6.
Get to the Jets,
Right.
which I hope happens. Because
This is what
I hope it happens for one reason.
I
Because
say this on my
Tennessee
phone.
needs to keep Mettenberger because Mettenberger is good. Don't throw him away.
I think Mettenberger's good too because I think that you need to give him a
talked about
chance.
this last night.
You need to give him a chance. Like I mean, he
didn't have
proved-
long enough a chance. He only had 4 or 5. He played the last 5 games of the year.
Yeah.
You know, give him a solid
No,
chance.
he's a
good.
pro-style quarterback.
He's big and has a rocket.
Right.
You gotta give him a chance.
And he did fairly well at LSU too. So
Yeah, he
I mean,
The
this
only
kid-
reason he dropped so low is because he tore his ACL.
Yeah.
That was the
He
only
had
reason
some
why.
off the field issues too. But I mean, hey, I think you don't draft someone in his spot. Give him a chance. And I think you got to get rid of Locker because honestly, if you look at it, that guy's injured every day. And the contract that they have in place for him, he gets a good amount of money.
Yeah.
Because when he came out of Washington, they thought he'd be top of the line, and they gave him a pretty big contract. So I think they should
He's
get rid of
garbage.
him.
He's a bum.
He is a bum.
He's a bum.
So is Whitehurst, though. Charlie
Yeah.
Whitehurst is a bum, too.
Yeah,
Just
he
get
is.
Mettenberger, then go draft a quarterback
Put
in
a
the 6th
team
round.
around him.
But go draft a quarterback in the 6th round to give someone to back him up, and you're good.
All right, so thank you guys for watching and listening as well. Barring any ridiculous New England weather coming up on Tuesday, which there's supposed to be a storm on Sunday and Monday, so maybe Friday again next week, but hopefully we'll try me Tuesday. But we'll be back here either at 1 on Friday or 2:30 to 4 on Tuesday, like we said we will be. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at NFL Korner, Korner with a K, 3, just the number 3, to see what we think about different NFL stories and issues in 140 characters or less, and feel free to ask us any NFL-related questions that you want. Thanks again for listening to Newbury College Radio. If you're listening or watching this video on YouTube, tune in next week, and you're listening to Newbury College Radio, the sound of Nighthawk Nation. Peace.